Big deal.
Yeah, but the Gemara wouldn't be satisfied with that. The Gemara wants to know. The Gemara wants to know what's the reason. If we're not going to have a reason, we're going to have to figure out a reason. And here we figured out the reason to tell us that they don't need to have all four signs.
So why do you have to write all 24? You could have wrote another one or two that don't have all four signs.
And the Gemara is not going to answer that last question. It's going to answer why we need another three. To tell me 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? It's going to need. It's not going to answer the other. One. So, what are we saying here? We're saying that if you need all four signs to be kosher. Now, why do I need to say the 24 birds? They're all non-kosher simply because they don't have the four signs. Unless, what's the other option? The other options are that really I don't need the four signs to be kosher.
You use one.
I just need one. Now, why do I say all 24 birds? What did I gain? Because those 24 birds don't have all four signs, and nevertheless, they're not kosher. So those are the exceptions. Really, only with one sign, it's already kosher. The exception of those 24 birds that don't have all the four signs, and they're still not kosher. Now we know why it has to write it. Because those are the ones that aren't kosher.
They may have one in the Simon, you mean? All these other 24?
All these other 24, they have kosher signs.
One of the four.
One of the four, at
Which
least.
one's different?
We're going to say that 20 of them have 3. 20 of them have 3. Pereses and Azniya are going to have 2. Right? The Erev has 2. The Erev has 2. The Peres and the Azniya only have 1. And then the Nesher has none. So, from these birds, you have 0, 1, 2, and 3 of the signs. You don't have all 4 of the signs, or else that would automatically be kosher. But nevertheless, these are birds that have signs of kosher signs, and nevertheless they're not kosher. That's why it has to say it.
I have 20, have 3 of them. 3 Simonim.
Right.
3 have 2 Simonim.
No.
No. 1 has 1.
No, 2 have 2. 1 has 2, and 2 have 1. We'll have to do it. We'll talk to them to do this a little better for us.
You have to count that out.
So that's why you need all 24.
Still, this is full Simonim. Full
Okay.
Simonim important. Some birds have it, some don't. Like the owl and stuff like that.
24 would be combinations of 3. No, I can get all 3 combinations.
We're going to have a few of them.
If I have 4,
All we need is
if
your
I have
brother
4
for something.
possibilities, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, and I'm only looking for
4 times 3 times 2 is 24.
You know the kapara chicken story?
That's how you do it. That's the factorial. That's how you.
I think, if I'm understanding the discussion.
Uh-huh.
The numbers are
This
correct.
this we did with the in genetics in the with the amino acids.
Yeah, it's
There
the
were-
same. It's the
Order,
same.
that's the order.
How many
The order doesn't
possibilities were there? Were there 24?
4 times 3 times 2.
So that's the pshat. Very
Times
good.
1.
But
Which
the
doesn't
order
help.
doesn't matter, does it?
How many people?
No.
Story about this.
Because that would affect the order.
It doesn't matter about
The
the
order,
order.
so it wouldn't affect the order, but that would be the possible combination.
Unless it does matter.
If we have an A, B, C, and D, 24 combinations.
It does matter if it...
If you have a B and B and B and B, it's the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so then it's half of it. Or is it?
The
Okay.
order matters.
Whatever.
You see that really
The Gemara doesn't
matters.
discuss why there's
You need the
20
hand and the stomach.
for. No, that's why there's not. There's only 20 that have 3.
Right. 20 of 3.
20 have 3.
So then it's out of 3.
Times 2 times 2 is only 6. I only have 6 combinations. Okay. The Gemara says, "V'neilef minayo." Why are we saying that the reason why we have these non-kosher birds listed is to tell me that those non-kosher birds have kosher signs and nevertheless they're not kosher? Let's do it exactly the opposite. Let's say that these non-kosher birds have 1 or 2 or 3 kosher signs and they're not kosher. Let's say that that's a binyanav. That's an example for all other birds that have 1, 2, 3 signs that they're not kosher. Instead of saying that those are the exceptions, let's learn from them that all birds that don't have all 4 signs are not kosher. Ma hasam tlasa v'le'achlinan. Just like over there, you have 3 kosher signs and it's not good enough. You can't eat it. Afkal tlasa v'le'nechal. V'kolsken trei v'chad. So too, anything that has 3 signs, you can't eat. And for sure, if it only has 2 signs or 1 sign, you can't eat from it. That's the Gemara's question. Gemara says, Im Kain, if that's the case, that you need all 4, but 3 is not good enough. So Oyrev de Kasar Rachman Alamali. Why does it need to say the Oyrev? The Oyrev has 2 signs. 2 of the signs. It doesn't tell me which ones. But the Oyrev has 2 of the signs. Hashta dis like tlasa layachlinan. When I have 3 of the kosher signs, I can't eat it. This they train me by. If I only have 2, for sure I can't. For sure I can't. It doesn't need to tell me that. So the Gemara says, okay, very interesting. So what are we left with now? Now we're saying that we can't learn from the 20 non-kosher birds that have 3 of the kosher signs. 3 out of 4. And we can't learn from them and say any bird that has 3 out of the 4 is non-kosher. Why? Because why do we need the bird that has 2? Should be a kal v'chaimer. So the Gemara now says, 1 second. Let's learn from the Oyrev. Ma hasam trei loy. Just like by the Oyrev, 2 is not kosher.
2 is saying okay.
So afkal trei loy. Okay. We'll do like this. We'll say, okay, I understand that the 3 we're going to have to say is kosher. And all 20 birds are the exception. Why do I have to say that? Because why do I have to say the Oyrev? If 3 was non-kosher, so why do you have to tell me 2 is not kosher? Mm-hmm. So it must be that really 3 is kosher. Why do I have to say all those 20 birds? To tell me those are the exceptions.
Yeah.
That's what, okay. So why are we saying that 2 is not kosher? Let's say, why are we saying that 2 is also kosher, 2 signs? Let's say that 2 is not kosher. We'll learn from the Oyrev. The Gemara says, Im kain Peres v'Azniya the Kasar Rachman Alamali. What about Peres and Azniya?
Yeah.
Peres and Azniya are the 2 birds that only have 1 sign. If 2 signs are already not kosher, why do you have to tell me 1 sign is not kosher? It must be that 2 signs is yes kosher.
Yeah.
And it's the 1 sign that's not kosher.
Does it say in our school what these birds are? What
I have
the English word is?
From the Peres is a bearded vulture or a white-tailed eagle, and Osnia is cinereus vulture. I don't know. That's I took from the Steinsaltz. It's either a vulture or an eagle. Yeah. Subcategories. So, hashta dislei trei le'achlinan dislei chad mi bai. If it has 2 signs, which is the Oyrev, you can't eat it. For sure you can't eat it if it has 1 sign. It must be that 2 you can eat. 2 signs is good enough. You can eat it. Gemara says, okay, so v'nigmar mi Peres v'Azniya. Let's learn from Peres v'Azniya that having 1 sign is not kosher. We wanted to say that 1 sign is kosher already. You only need 1. Peres and Azniya have 1 sign. So now the Gemara says, Im kain nesher the Kasar Rachman Alamali. So why does it need to say a nesher? Nesher has 4 signs of non-kosher. If 1 sign of being non-kosher is already makes it non-kosher, so why does it have to go back and tell me
At least 4.
the 4? It must be that the 4 is telling me that only when you have all 4 is it non-kosher. So I learned from the nesher. This is interesting. Hashta dislei chad le'achlinan dislei klal mi bai. If it only has 1 sign that you can't eat it, if it doesn't have any of the signs, does it have to tell me that it's not kosher? Ela nesher d'leslei klal. Rather, it's the vulture or the eagle that doesn't have any of the signs. Hu d'lei seichel. That's what you can't eat. Ha dislei chad achal. But if it has 1 sign, then you can eat it. Now the Gemara says, Ve'elatayim the kasar rachman and nesher. What's the reason for this? Is because the Torah says the word nesher. There it talks about the nesher, which has all 4 signs. Halav hachi, but if without the nesher, havamina leilef mi peres vazni, I would have said that one sign is going to be non-kosher. Without nesher, I would have actually said that one sign isn't enough. I would need 2 signs at least. Right? That's how did we get out of saying, let's learn from Peres and Osniya that one sign isn't enough? We said because I have Nesher. So now the Gemara is challenging this. The Gemara is saying, really? Without the word Nesher, you would have accepted that question, and you would have said that Peres and Osniya are going to be an example to all kosher, all other birds, that if they have one sign, they're not going to be non-kosher, just like the Peres and Osniya. We have a rule. Havalu Peres Vazniya Shneksuv Mabam Kechad. We have a rule that you can make a binyanav. You can say that this case is an example for everything else. We call it a binyanav in Rabbi Shmuel in the Gemara. It's called like a mamatzino. Just like we find here, so too we'll find everywhere else. It's an example, a comparison. But that's only if you only have one of them. But here you have 2, and it's Shneksuv Mabam Kechad. V'Shneksuv Mabam Kechad Ein Malamdim. If you have 2, why do I need a second one? If it's a binyanav, a comparison, you only need one. The fact that there's a second one tells me that I couldn't have used the binyanav, and I needed to tell me a second one. That negates the binyanav, negates the comparison. So what we're doing is we're challenging the question. You posed the question that I should be able to learn from Peres and Osniya, and if not for that, and if not for the answer of Nesher, I would have learned from them that one sign makes a bird not kosher. One sign is not enough to make a bird kosher. It's not true. I wouldn't have been able to learn from them because that's 2 verses that are saying the same thing, and I can't learn from 2 verses that are saying the same thing. The Gemara says, Gemiri, we've been taught the ikabahai lekabahai, the ikabahai lekabahai, that those signs are not the same. So I wouldn't have been able to learn. They each have a different sign. Which sign? It doesn't tell me which one.
So I could have thought each has a different sign. No, is that what he's saying?
No, it's saying Peres and Osniya, those 2 birds that each have one sign, don't have the same one. Let's say one of them doesn't have a zefek, and one of them the korkaban doesn't peel. So I would have each one has its own sign.
Right.
So I wouldn't have been able. I would have been able to say that each one is teaching me that one sign is enough to make it treif. The Gemara now asks, Mechti. Mechti is like 1 second, let's see, let's look at this. Now that, is the way it's translated in the dictionary. Estrim varba ifes tmeim havo. We have 24 birds.
Which are tummy?
Which are tummy. 24 tummy birds that are listed. I efsher dechad dika bahanach leka bahani. It's impossible that if I now have 2 different signs for the Peres and Osniya, and that because they're different, that makes it that it's not Shnei Ksuv Mabam Kechad. It's not 2 verses that are teaching me the same thing, because each one has a different sign, has a different non-kosher sign on it. So, but the problem is I have another 20 birds that each have 3.
Definitely have the same.
There's definitely one of them that's going to be comparable to that has the same one as the other one. So from those 23, you go look through the list. One of them is going to match up with these birds that each have the same sign. And now we can't learn from them because it's going to be, once you repeat the halacha, it can't be a binyanav anymore. The Gemara says, Gemiri, Esrim varba oifes tmeim havu. This is what we've accepted. That there are 24 non-kosher birds. Varba simonim, and we have 4 signs. Tlasa, 3 of the signs, haji bekulu. They are repeated in all of them.
Esmehem
Esrim shleisha. 20 of them have 3 signs. 3 each. Trei ba'irav. The Eirav has 2. The Chad beperes, Chad ba'azniya. And then there's one sign in the Paris and one in the Azniya. The Issa Baha, Lesser Baha. And what this one has, that one doesn't have.
Well, the 2 have, the 20 don't have.
Well, the two is a problem. You can't learn from the 2. But each one leaves us with a sign that's not. What are you concerned about, Taisvus? Taisvus has a different question here.
Big choices.
Yeah.
Probably one of the bigger ones. Huh?
Taisvus is going back and asking on So what I'm left here is with still is that the Peres and the Ozniya have a sign that's not in the other ones. Mao de Tema, I could have thought Leilif Minei, that I can learn from one of those that doesn't have a repeated sign. So therefore, Kasarachman and Nesher. Therefore, the Torah says Nesher, that
Where's
says
the
the eagle, Nesher, the Lesle Klal. Nesher, that doesn't have any signs. Hu de Seichel, doesn't have all 4. That's the one that I can't eat. Ha'ika, the Islechad, but a bird that has one sign, Achol, then I could eat it. Now the Gemara asks, Elatayin the Kasarachman Alamali. So why do I need the Torah that has all 4 signs to teach me a kosher bird? I know a kosher bird is only one sign is already a kosher bird. So Karban. That's just telling me which bird is kosher to be a karban. Okay. Tosfos before. He argues on Rashi. Rashi said, if you go back to the Rashi Nesha, Rashi said that the 24 birds in the Torah, they tell me that those are the only 24 birds that are non-kosher. That's what Rashi says. The Inoif Tami Bailam Ela Chafdalet Hamurim Kan. Now, Tosfos says that the Al Yidei Chafdalet Elu V'Simaneim Nukal Haker Kol Tamisha Bailam. That's not so. That through the 24 birds we can learn other birds that aren't kosher. So why does it say the 24? Tell me the kosher birds. He says, well, the kosher birds are more than the non-kosher, so we just listed the non-kosher, but nevertheless, we could be able to learn out more non-kosher birds than what's listed. Okay. When we said over here the Eifa Doiris, so Rashi explained before that it eats with its claw. Tosfos says even chickens eat with their claw, and chickens we know are kosher. So it says Tosfos says that it claws and it eats while it's still alive. It doesn't wait for it to die. It gives an example here. It says someone that marries his daughter to an Amaretz, it's as if he binds her in front of a lion. Just like the lion claws and eats, doesn't wait for it to die. Also an Amaretz hits and has relations and doesn't wait until she's appeased.
That's what Noach.
So that's what he wants to say over here, that also that Doiris means that it doesn't wait for it to die. Which one is the Noach one? Rashi Tosfos over here discusses how Noach knew. How Noach knew.
He saw the animals. Yeah.
No, there's 2 pshatim how to understand what Noach did. Yeah. How did Moshe know which birds were Doiris? He says that maybe it was a Kabbalah from Noach, because Noach knew which ones came into the Teva.
What do you have to say?
They saw the animals. Noach saw the animals, so he knows which animals.
It was said before that it came from Hashem. Hashem
later.
knows the creation of the world.
It was later.
What later?
No.
We didn't have them between.
They said before that Moshe Rabbeinu knew.
No.
It's
It's asking, what it's doing is, the Gemara says, by Shashasua, the Gemara says, is Moshe Rabbeinu a hunter or a trapper that he
Right,
knows?
so
So
they
it's a
answered.
proof from, okay. So,
But what did
why,
they answer?
they're
That
asking,
Hashem told them He
asking-
created the whole
no,
world.
they're asking why doesn't the Gemara ask it over here, that this is a Neifadairis? It could have said also, is Moshe Rabbeinu a hunter or a trapper? It must be that Hashem So we said no. From here was no proof because he knew from Noach from. Okay, let's leave this over here.
Okay.
Shekayach.
I love Pshat with Bob and Elvin Pshat. Like why the X where you say there is like split hooves.
But he could have
three
known
and
the
one.
Shisu also from there.
8 o'clock.
Noach also brought in the kosher animals.
So